Just that one hair here. Go there. Okay, cool. Hey folks, Gast here. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite official art from the Thracia 776 game. It was kind of a dreadful experience, not going to lie, playing Thracia 776 for the first time. It's a game that does a lot of things really, really well and executes a lot of things very, very strongly, I guess. And in other parts, it is an awful experience, and some of the mechanics are unforgivably terrible. So it's a very hot and cold game, and it's dubbed Kaga Incarnate. And if you played Kaga's games, and then if you played Fire Emblem 5, you would know exactly what they're talking about. I feel like Kaga has this tendency to like make really cool things, but then kind of eclipse it with really awful things. That's just my kind of take from what I've played of him. Through FE2, 4, and 5, it just feels like that's kind of the pattern of his games. As you can tell, I'm still kind of scarred from my experience. I'm going to be talking about a really cool aspect of Thracia in its art design, because I find a lot of character designs in Thracia, while there's the cast is massive, and there's some character art that looks pretty awful realistically, like Brighton. Oh my god, the ugliest character I've ever seen. He's just bad. Like, his art is so shitty. But on the other side, there's some really cool art and some very unique and interesting poses that I'd love to talk about today. So today I'm just going to be talking about my top 10 favorite Fire Emblem 5 art. So on my number 10 spot, my 10th favorite of the game is Selphina. So I find Selphina to be one of the more pretty looking female characters in the game. I think her one half pose where she's kind of like, she's literally like 50% in front of you, but she's also has like the knee bend, and then looking at you, of course, is a pretty nice pose compared to the other poses in the game in terms of like just standing up. A lot of poses in Thracia have just kind of boring standing up poses, whereas Selphina kind of has a little bit of a twist with a one half kind of angle. And something else that makes her pop out well is her white armor and her white cloth. Thracia 776 has a lot of cavaliers, and a lot of just mounted units in general. I kind of find that a lot of the outfits that they sport are dark colors, like dark browns and greens and blacks and blues. You know, Selphina is a bow knight who has white cloth, which makes it kind of pop out. And yeah, the gilded like braces and the shoulder pads and stuff are nice. She definitely pops out for me, and that's why it's the little things, that puts her on my number 10. So moving to number 9 is Amalda. So I find Amalda to be even more pretty than Selphina. Yeah, I think Amalda is one of the prettiest characters in the game. And while her pose is pretty simple for the most part, again, standing up, arms folded, I just really, really love her palette. The green armor with the gold trim seems very, very nicely put together. And she's sporting this like very sleek, and it kind of looks like leather pants and boots, which to me kind of just makes it look really badass, honestly. I don't know what else to say. It just looks, like the way it's designed makes it look glossy and shiny and stuff. Yeah, I like her expression, I like her hair, I like her design. Altogether, it looks really great. On the number 8 spot is Gulzar. I find his art really cool, mainly because of the pose that he has. So his pose is unique because he's actually just this massive dude. He is so large. Okay, so in Thracia 776, there's a stat called Build, which is basically like can be captured by other enemies if this unit can capture enemies themselves. Did I just say that? Can be captured by enemies or be captured themselves. And he has a build of 18, which is out of 20. So he's basically like 2 points away from being as bulky as a freaking cavalier. Like, he's almost as bulky as a horse plus a person. He's huge. And I really like his pose because it's like he's trying to shield that away, and he's curling inwards as if he's kind of antisocial and doesn't want to talk to anybody. But the way he's curling in, and he's looking angry, but you can just tell he's still this massive guy. There's this other picture of him that'll just pop up right now where it compares him basically to his daughter, Merida, and Evil? I forget. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Evil. Yeah, and the fun thing about it is just you realize he's a massive dude. Again, his pose is trying to be silent and small, but he's the biggest guy on probably in the continent. Let's get real. On the number 7 spot, I have Finn. So Finn's got just an overall solid look to him. It's cool that I think besides Glade, he is his art is him on a horse. I like to think that there's a story element to Finn because he's depicted on a horseback, because the whole story is that he brought Leif and Nana on horseback to the village of Fianna, and that's kind of where the game starts off, in the village of Fianna with Abel and stuff like that. And in terms of compared to other Cavaliers, again, he has that bright like sky baby blue palette going on. Other cavalry, again, just very, very dark and just kind of muddy colors that don't pop out whatsoever. Spoiler alert, none of those Cavaliers are going to be on this list. Yeah, overall he's just solid art. He looks a lot more mature than he did in FE4, so you can tell he's just grown up from where he was compared to his other art. Basically, white gloves, white cape, good palette. Can't go wrong with that. It's a very good start. All right, on my number 6 spot is Leif. My favorite part about this art is the running pose that he has. I find it dynamic in that his sword is in the background and you can still clearly see the light brand there. And I just like how there's some depth to his art itself, because he's like charging at you, so his body's not stiff like this. It's like he's going forward like that. Also, the fact that if you look at his art, he is looking upwards and he's charging at something. And that makes me appreciate how they might have been considering the fact that he's just this small boy fighting against all odds, looking up to whoever he's charging against. So yeah, it feels like there's that kind of story and that character element that's in there. It's white, it's bright. The only thing I'm kind of confused about is where did he even get this armor? Because he got to Fianna with Leif like years ago, and it's just like, where did he get fitted for this? You know, did Finn just take it with him when they escaped Leinster? I don't know. I might be putting too much stock into where he's looking, but it does come off to me like he's charging at someone who is higher than him, which just reminds me of who Leif really is and what kind of journey, what kind of personal growth he's going through, which is what I can appreciate about the art. Number 5 is Shiva. So this is where it gets pretty interesting. So as you can see, Shiva's design is pretty simple, but that's what I like about it. The black robes and the purple bandages, even though it's kind of silly to imagine that was a legit choice that he made when he got up in the morning, are two colors that work really, really nice together. Additionally, the white pants and the yellow belt pop out the design. The extremely deep V is there, showing off the chest cleavage. And honestly, like, this sword that he has is like very vicious looking. Like, in terms of putting a weapon in with the art, his sword looks terrifyingly sharp. So all in all, I find it's a very stylish look, and I really enjoy the simplicity of it. So number 4 is Dean, for obvious reasons if you know me. So Dean has 3 awesome things going on for him that puts him in my top 5. His hair, his pose, and his biceps. Basically it. Crazy, like, he's an amazingly strong unit in the game, and this pose just shows how mighty he is. Awesome 90s Japanese guy hair, like, even the incorporation with the mountain, as if he's staring down, if he's on a mountain looking out off his wyvern and stuff, and he's just kind of looking down into the battle and seeing what's going on. I think that's what it's trying to show, but he's also just super jacked, and he's actually immensely strong in the game. One of my favorite units to use, in fact, because he was a wyvern, great starting stats, can get a personal weapon as well, so he's got a lot of stuff going for him, and I really like him for that. So that's why he's my number 4. And this is where it gets more fun. It's Kane. So Kane is he's so quiet, he doesn't even have lines in the game except for his escape and his death quote. So as far as the game is concerned, he's just a cavalier who's easily outclassed by many other existing cavalier units. But then again, he just has this like wickedly cool pose where even though he's a cavalier, he has bright green and browns going on. Very nice, like combo of very nice palette and like color combination. Honestly, it really fits in together quite well, much better than the other cavalier art. In fact, he's like the only like green cavalier, I guess, in the game compared to like his comrades like Aloma and stuff like that. And then of course there's the pose. So he's removing his gloves, or he's putting his gloves on with his mouth. It's just so random and funny. Like, it's just this guy who's not even like meant to be this womanizing character. He's actually You know, his character he's quiet and he's very pensive. He doesn't say much. And in the end game, he's just a guy that he's so smart that Leif and his, you know, administration or whatever consult to him a lot. So he's just this quiet guy who just has a sick pose. Like, have you ever seen that before? No, you haven't. It's Kane, man. It's Kane, man. Yes, he doesn't talk, so why even use a mouth to talk? Just use it to hold your glove. I don't know. Overall, though, very, very cool. And my number 2, so we're getting towards the end here. My number 2 spot is Olwyn. So, a few reasons why I find Olwyn's art the second best, in my opinion, is that first of all, she has a good pose. You know, she's sitting down, she's leaning forward. She has her arm kind of holding on to this, so she's not standing up or anything. She's sitting down. It looks interesting. The colors, they're very, very vibrant and they work well together. Olwyn's body language and facial expression is telling me that it's that she looks concerned and she's dwelling deeply on something. And when I think of Olwyn's character, I think that she's dwelling on Phrygia's cooperation with child hunting and not following Reinhardt's footsteps anymore. So she's thinking about something. She looks very pensive in this picture. All in all, good art. In fact, this art just feels like it's drawn better. I don't know. It comes off like it pops out and it's a lot more it's a lot more detailed or something than other characters in the game, which it just kind of pops out to me. I don't know. It just pops out. And it says something about who she is, which is something that I always think is a bonus for these character designs. But my number 1 favorite art, and you guys are going to love this, is Homer. So my favorite official art in Thracia is Homer. In terms of facial expression and pose, I love it. The first plainly womanizing character in the franchise. You know, on the level of Sane or Inigo type thing. He was the first one. He was like, if there was an archetype, he would be the first guy. There's no one really who is as overtly womanizing as he was. I mean, his recruitment conversation, you need to have Nana or else he ignores everybody else. Like, if you bring a guy in there, he's just like, I don't have time for you. I'm not looking for you, or something like that. It's kind of hilarious. And what the pose is saying, that with the eyes and the look and he's leaning over, it's suggesting that he's trying to flirt with somebody right now, which is just cool to see. And the reason why his colors are so vibrant and, you know, colorful is that he's a traveling bard. That's his character. So in game, his class is a bard. He's actually a bard class, but it's just for the namesake. He's actually a mage and he can promote into a sage, but his class is just a bard. Don't really know why. Maybe there's some sort of unique thing that makes him that. I have no idea. He starts with a high rank in light magic, which is pretty unique to him. But again, even though he's a traveling bard, he's a mage in game. His design, I feel like, is flashier than other bard and dancer units in other games. When I think of bards, I'm thinking Nils or Elfin, or, you know, or dancers like, or early game dancers, even like Lara, who's in Thracia, Lalum, Tethys. I just think of those characters and I'm like, they don't have this kind of sporty colors. Like, first of all, the hair is great. The long ponytail's really cool. The jewelry he has going on, the blue gloves, which are matching with like his big old collar here. The fancy pink bandages and stuff like that. He's just kind of rocking a really sweet getup right now. Fun pose, cool personality, kind of the first of a line in a growing line of womanizer characters and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why he's my number 1. He's my number 1 favorite art. There's a lot of cool character designs that Thracia has, along, again, with some pretty awful art. But, you know, it's really good where it's really good. And, you know, I think every Fire Emblem game just has some pretty bad art in general. No game is perfect, but Thracia, you know, for its time, still has, you know, artwork that stands up and has very unique poses that I honestly think should be revisited for official art. But Thracia felt like the first game to really throw personality into the official art, which I find sweet. So guys, the next batch of Gast t-shirts are conceptually here. I need to have at least 25 shirts requested before I can make an order out. So if you are interested in getting a t-shirt, it's $25 Canadian, which is cheap in American dollars. I know a lot of you guys are American. So if you are interested in getting a shirt, email me at gastalt@gmail.com with a size preference, If you feel like you can rock this shirt, which you can, I really think it's a slick design. No one's gonna tell it's from a gaming YouTuber at all. I wear it out sometimes when I go drinking and no one can tell the difference. In fact, some people think they're really cool and I'm just like, yeah, I made it myself. Not really. I got a designer made it, but that's, you know what I'm saying. And you guys know that I don't have a Patreon or anything. I'd rather support other creators. But this is a really great way to support my channel through buying a t-shirt. $25 Canadian. It's hella cheap for American. You know, people have bought them before. They look really, really cool. You support the channel. You support me. Nothing can go wrong. With that all said, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.